Welcome back again. We're playing Kerbal Space, and this time I've done it. Great Scott, I've done it! I've made it to Mun, the moon. Unfortunately, I didn't think I was going to make it, so what I did was not even bother recording audio while I was doing it. I was just playing around, and I just happened to record the video while I was doing it. I have a one-man space capsule there. It's got some landing struts, a single engine, and a bit of a large fuel tank. And as you saw on the previous screen, I actually just modified my orbit so that I was going to increase my orbit circularly around the main world. And as you approach the flight path of the Mun, you actually, if you're on the right trajectory, you'll actually fly past Mun and be influenced by its gravity during your flyby. Essentially, a trans-lunar injection burn is being performed. We're burning some Delta V, and we actually have quite a bit of fuel. It's a powerful little engine that consumes not that much fuel. And actually, it was perfect for getting to the moon. As you see, we've just your standard burn, and we're just keeping it on target. We burn on. And actually, one of the problems I had with this was that my SAS wasn't working. It would send the vehicle into a wild roll, and so everything I did, I had to use just controls for. I had no way of locking myself so that we didn't tumble wildly. And after that quick burn, you see we put ourselves right on the flight path there, the trans-lunar injection. When we swing around, and if we didn't actually perform a burn, we would actually swing right past the planet and be ejected out of that system. And right when we hit it, we performed a small burn to actually slow our velocity, and now you can see we're right there. And where we're sitting right now, we're actually going to smack right into the surface of it. So this is actually an interesting way of a low delta V cost of a orbit to surface. If you had the capabilities of just landing directly on the surface in a direct descent format, there's no reason why you couldn't just do that. But if you try the traditional lunar orbit rendezvous, obviously you're going to want to try and put yourself in an orbit. Again, just by modifying our velocity, we can actually swing around the backside of the moon. And right now, we're still going to be flung out. We'll actually pick up speed on that apoapsis and be flung out into deep space in somewhat of a slingshot maneuver here. But as we come around, time accelerate a bit. As we come around the backside of the moon, we can actually perform an engine burn, which will slow the capsule down, and there you go. It doesn't actually require much, and boom, there you go. You're in an elliptical orbit. Add a maneuver here to try and shim everything up, and as you can see, we're actually on somewhat of a polar orbit. There we go. We're on somewhat of a polar orbit. Our inclination is really high, but we do kind of bring it down a bit. I bring it back into somewhat of a normal, high equatorial inclination, but it does require another burn. And actually, this is probably what did me in. I wasn't planning on landing on the surface on this. I was actually just going to enter orbit and be done with it, but I figured, what's the point of going all the way to the moon without attempting to land? And had I not performed so many burns, I may have actually had enough fuel. Well, you'll see in a second. But here we've got our burn, and that puts us back in our high inclination equatorial orbit, or puts us into it, and then that's where I was going to leave it. But I see the surface of the moon, and it looks so pretty, and I put these landing legs on it. I figured, why not try for a surface landing? I mean, what's the worst that could happen? We've already blown a couple of these Kerbals up on the launch pad. Why not have one become famous for actually touching down on the surface of the moon? So all we do is we perform a retrograde burn. That's the target with the green target with the X on it. That's the direction of our flight. And we burn. And that puts us right towards the surface. And you can see that big block of cheese getting closer. And we're at about 100 kilometers above the surface, and then we come in here. You can see our shadow kicking up, and by this time I had used up so much fuel it was impossible to slow my velocity enough. I think I'm at 40 or 50 meters per second here, and you really want to be below 10 for a landing, and we bounce, which I'm actually surprised of that there was even a bounce in there, but this second impact really is the final straw. And there it is. So, again, not the best, but we'll try better next time. Thanks for watching.